This episode is designed to quiet that fear noise that's spinning through your mind, that inner bully that's telling you you're not enough of this, you're too much of this. Who do you think you are to do that? You should be grateful for all that you have. And you wanting more is ridiculous. Like, can't you just calm down? Can't you just enjoy life for what it is at this exact moment? And you probably can't do this anyway. And everything in between. I want this to be an episode that you can come back to again and again when the noise in your mind gets so loud that it's pulling you off track so that we can plug you back in so your dreams don't get derailed. Because that is not what we're going to do here at Project Me. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationship, your abundance, and everything in between. Who feels like 2024 was the year of growth, the year that you were broken in ways you never expected to be broken, that layers of healing have occurred that you were not even prepared for? I myself have had my most wildly abundant year ever in my life, while simultaneously also having one of the most excruciatingly painful years of my life in so many different areas, being tested, having new layers of trauma come up that I needed to address, body stuff coming up, health stuff coming up, things coming up in relationships that I thought were solid that actually weren't, and lesson upon lesson upon lesson. Had an ego death at my birthday that had me literally on the floor of my villa in Turks and Caicos praying for a breakthrough, which did occur. But wow, was it messy? It was ugly. But while also being the most insanely lucrative, even joyous year that I've ever had. But wow, I am not wanting this to be this way in 2025. There was really no in between whatsoever. There was no middle ground. It was extremes on either level. And I have a feeling I'm not alone in that. And what I wished I had during these times was a resource to be able to go to, aside from my coaches I work with, my therapists, people who are in my inner circle, but something when I didn't want to talk to anyone, when I was taking my walks, when I'm in my car, just being able to listen to an episode that puts me back into a grounded space, like almost like being comforted by someone that you trust, and where it's like, we're going to be okay. Like having a verbal Xanax for the wild brain of yours. And that's my intention behind today's episode. So please make sure you share it with anyone who you know is like having a lot of stress right now. Maybe they already suffer from anxiety or PTSD like I do. A couple things that I have done for you. We have a special abundance holiday sale going on for my famous Make More, Work Less Money manifestation program. If you're watching here on Project Me TV on YouTube, I am showing you the incredible guided workbook that also comes with this program. You have video course modules. This is a self-paced course. It's designed for you to do on your own. You can do this in 7 days or less. It's designed to transform your money story that quickly. If you need to pace it out, there's people who have taken the time and done it over 3 weeks. And it's so powerful what happens because we have to go many layers deep in order to rewire and reprogram and refresh your relationship with money, that, it can bring up some stuff. So it can take people a little longer to go through the modules, and that's okay. And then there's some people who binge it, but I wanted to show you because we've made it fun. Think of like an adult activity book We have coloring pages in here. We have diagrams in here. I mean, it is meant for it to be really engaged and tactile, where you can use all of your fun office supplies. And then, what I'm also doing for this special abundance flash sale during the holidays, you get $200 off the signature program of mine. And you will also get a free copy of my In the Abundance Zone guided journal and planner. This is a 90-day journal and planner designed to multiply your manifestations. And it is meant for it to be something you look forward to using every single day. This isn't some long exercise. You can do this in 5 minutes. There's mini vision boards. There's really fun weekly intentions, abundance zone inventories, some really cool exercises. And of course, there's affirmations that you can color. And people have been doing really great things with this because this is the printable version. So they've been getting like fun binders, in their favorite color. And then the front of the binder, they turn into a vision board. And then they have the In the Abundance Zone inside. And there's so many different ways that you can zhuzh this up for it to be like your thing, your sacred moment, your sacred time, so that right now you are priming yourself so that 2025 will be your most abundant year yet. Period. End of story. But if you don't prime yourself, you're not setting yourself up for your manifestations to come to fruition. So go to projectmewithtiffany.com/make more work less. You can also swipe up in the show notes to access this flash abundance sale. And it's in the link in my bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. And once you pay, for the program, you will be emailed separately with the 90-day guided journal and planner. Okay. So we will make sure that you get it. And I can't wait. I love seeing all the incredible transformations and reviews people have had by doing both of these things, but like combining the two. I was like, why didn't I think of this before? I thought of it randomly on a whim. So let's talk about these fears that you've got going on. This is the time of year where a lot of shit comes up. If you're watching me on Project Me TV on YouTube right now, you will see my level of unwellness. I have a one of those like lavender neck wraps on. I have a thermal top on. On top of that, I have a fleece vest. On top of that, I have a scarf and I'm wearing a hat. Keep in mind, I live in Los Angeles. Yes, we are this dramatic this time of year here. If it dips below 70 degrees, we're cold. I am in particularly very cold, very PMSy, because at the time of recording this, we are entering the final new moon of the year. And I recently learned that people whose cycles are timed with a new moon, like there's actually like a term for that. So you can go and Google that. I won't get all into the weeds on it, but I find it really interesting how many people are synced up with the moon. So if you're feeling right now super potent energy, just really strong energy, you feel like you're in a vice, you feel like you're being squeezed and you're feeling pressure and it's probably making you want to procrastinate, making you want to avoid, making you want to hide. Some people, it does the opposite. It puts you in high gear where you feel like you have to be doing and going and you can't sit still and you're restless, irritable, and discontent. All of these are signs that we need to get your brain back in order. We need to restore order in your mind. Your mind has gone to a place where your ego is running the show and it's pure fear. It's coming up with all sorts of nonsense. It's telling you all sorts of stories. And the first order of business, and I shared this inside my Project Me Posse business and money coaching membership last Friday, you have to name this inner bully of yours. The reason I say that isn't just to be cutesy. It's because I want you to make sure you know that that isn't you. right? That's not your higher self. That's not your most abundant self. That's not your God driven self. That's this separate entity that is trying to keep you safe, pull you back, keep you small, prevent you from doing anything new, anything out of the ordinary, anything that might have any risk. And to be here on earth and actually do bigger things and things that are going to light you up and things that are going to change your life and things that are going to even change your financial landscape, risk is involved. Risk was involved in me starting this podcast. Risk is involved every time you put a post out into the world. Risk is involved in any type of business, making a shift, moving, changing jobs, leaving someone, getting married to someone. You know, you want to be in the game of life. That stuff has to happen. There's no way around that unless you just resolve yourself to, I'm going to live so small and so quiet and so contained, but you end up paying a price in misery and unfulfillment with that. And I know you don't want that life. That's why you're here. But I first want to normalize for you that this is a time of year where that mind gets wild. I've not accomplished what I want to accomplish. I'm so behind. Look at how far ahead other people are because people are posting all the things that they've accomplished and they're thankful for and they've done. And I could have done more. And then you start beating yourself up, and then your energy gets lower, and then you get demotivated, and then you don't want to do anything, and then you feel like crap. A lot of people get sick this time of year because your body is craving rest. Your body is craving time to restore, to be quiet, and you need to listen to it. I'm listening to my body today. I know that it's like, I want you to be quiet, which is funny considering I'm recording, but I also have to show up regardless. Like, I have to record this episode. So, period, right? Like, I have to record in this state. But for the rest of the day, I'm staying inside. I have, a pine smelling candle going. I'm going to order some food. I'm going to take like a beautiful abundance bath and really nurture into myself. When you take time to restore and take some quiet time to pour into yourself, it will naturally quiet that mind. When we're so tensed and we're trying to control and we're really like fighting against life, that's when your brain will play the most tricks on you and try to tell you that you are not capable of having the manifestations you want. You're not capable of reaching your goals. You're not capable of your desires. Or maybe it'll even be trickier and you know you're capable, but it's going to come up with, yeah, but there's a price to pay for it. You're going to have to work so hard that you're not going to be able to have time to take care of your health. You're not going to have time to be with your family. You're not going to have time for anything else. It can try to convince you that the only way you can do this thing or, scale your business is that you have to spend all of this money. And it'll just get more and more clever and creative. And no one is immune to this. I've coached over 150,000 people worldwide at this point. People who make tens of millions of dollars, people who are celebrities, people who are just starting out, people who have literally are spending their last dollar to work with me because they want to change their life. Like, you name it, everything in between. And everyone has this nonsense that goes on in their mind, me included. And here's what you need to know: as long as you're doing the best you can on any given day. Some days are going to be 10%. Some days are going to be 70, some 40, some 90. Rarely are you going to have a lot of days where you're firing on all cylinders. And as long as you're showing up as the best that you can, that's more than enough. It's the consistency over what any one week looks like. Use the analogy of someone who's trying to lose weight and like get in better shape. You're not screwed because one week you got sick and you were off and you couldn't work out and you didn't eat that great. You're not screwed. Then when you go and look at like your results of the overall month, you're on the up. You've done well. So stop judging yourself necessarily on even like a weekly basis. Even look at like how you've done for the month, how you've done for the quarter. You're going to have times when you're trying to get in shape where you like gain a few pounds and then you lose a few pounds and then you're off track and you're on track, but like overall are you in the green? And that's the same for business. You're going to have times when you're not making as much money. You're going to have times when you make a lot of money. You're going to have times when it's in between. You're going to have shit weeks. You're going to have weeks that pinch me weeks that you're just like shocked that are happening. And then you're going to have a lot of mundane, boring weeks. But what do your books look like at the end of the quarter, at the end of the month, even at the end of the year? Are you on the up? Well, that's amazing that you're on the up. That focus on that. And also, just so you know, if those of you who are building like a big business and you're really in scaling mode, what's required for growth and scaling in business a lot of times is pulling back. You're spending more, you're investing more back in the business, you're expending more of your time and energy to really reassess and move things around and pull back that arrow so you can spring ahead. And some of you who aren't even in a spot where you're like necessarily in this big scaling of your business, you've had to pull back the arrow on your inner growth. You had to pull back the arrow maybe on your health this year in order to set yourself up to spring ahead. There's one of the reasons why it took me 10 years to start Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and business coaching brand, is I had a major, health crisis I was going through. And I had to pull back the arrow on what looked insane. I mean, on my other business, I had to take that down. My revenue was down by 90%. That did not feel good, but I also had no choice. But when you look at the overall greater good, let's just say of a 10-year overall look at, millions and millions of dollars were made over the 10-year period, significantly up. That ended up being just a blip on the radar when you really zoom out. And the problem is we're so zoomed in because we're in our life. We're hyper vigilant on it. We can be hypercritical because of that inner bully and maybe because of some of the people around you. But when you really zoom out, I promise you, a lot of this stuff isn't a big deal. If you've missed the mark by a month, you've missed hitting a certain target by a certain amount, you're okay. And I'm not saying this to enable you and like give you a pass and like, oh, you can just like loaf around. I'm saying this to you because being really hard on yourself comes out of fear, comes out of control. And that drill sergeant type thing, that only repels abundance because then you start perceiving the things that you want, the things that you want to manifest as being a lot of work, as being a pain in the ass, as being heavy, as being hard, as being tumultuous. So then why are you going to really want it and have the same yearning and vision for it if you feel like you're going to have to sacrifice so much for it because you're making it so hard? In fact, you're making it harder than it needs to be. Hence why the name of my money manifestation program is Make More Work Less. I always had the thought that if you wanted to make more money, you have to work harder. And then obviously we hear work smarter, not harder. I absolutely agree with that. But I thought what I could control is like hustle harder, do more, be more, get skinnier, be prettier, talk to more people. And it's not sustainable. It's exhausting. It's the rat race. It's the matrix. It is not approved over here. I want you to take a deep breath, preferably audibly sigh it out. Sigh out this tension you've been holding in your body. It's like you're bracing yourself because you're like wanting what you want so badly, and then you're mad at yourself and you're holding on to all of this tension. And this tension is not only harmful to your health, but it's harmful to your abundance because it's not attractive. It's not hot. Okay. Like it really isn't. And I know it's scary. This is scary. Anyone who says that going after your dreams, building a business, starting a business, doing a new thing, whatever it is that doesn't test every single part of you and bring out all of your insecurities is full of shit. Even the people who have the highest degrees have a bunch of cash in the bank. It is scary. You're putting yourself out there. You're going after what you want versus settling. And it can feel like a lot sometimes. In fact, it can even feel like too much sometimes. And you just want to like call in sick to school. And I want you to allow yourself time to call in sick to school. You need to allow yourself time of reprieve. Allow yourself time to rest. Allow yourself time to recalibrate and not always being pushing and forcing and growing and all of that. So I want you to ask yourself, like, how can I take my foot off the gas a little bit with all of this, but while still showing up in integrity and still showing up for work and still showing up for my people and still showing up for myself where I feel empowered and I feel proud of myself because I know I'm not self sabotaging. I know I'm not procrastinating. I know I'm not avoiding. But where's the balance versus the black and white extremes, the all or nothing? Part of why you're feeling exhausted right now, part of why you're tired has been you've been vacillating in these extremes. And hopefully you're hearing this episode because I'm catching you. Okay. I can get into this too. I got hit with a unexpected end of year tax bill that I would say it shooketh me. And keep in mind, I pay weekly taxes, like estimated taxes. Okay. So it's not like I'm not paying the piper all year round. And I have the money to pay it. But wow. I mean, it is more than what my base salary was in corporate. Okay. And my base salary in corporate was rather generous. Of course, my light just went off. There we go. If you're watching on YouTube, it went off exactly at that time. I love when that happens. Thank you, universe. And that happened. And then the floors need to be replaced at the quiet house. I call it the quiet house. It's my house in the suburbs, not the beach house. And like, that's another 30 grand. And so, like, getting these bills where you're like, oh my God, even if you have the money, it can be something like that. Then I had two very, very sad relationships really hurt me on a guttural level in this last quarter of this year. So there's just been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sharing my stuff with you on purpose so that like you can see how it also happens to me because we can feel like we're so isolated and alone in it. I've been struggling, okay? Like I truly have. And I'm also put out I just released chapter 4 of my book. And it's like, this brings up a lot of stuff. And I've been struggling, like I've been sleeping 10 hours a night. I've been having to do a lot of stuff to be able to show up. It's also my busiest time of year with my other business. So it forces me to have to go in the in between. I want to go into the extreme of I've got to go into overdrive and get the cortisol pumping, and I've got to do all the things, and I have to release all the things now, and I've got to put up more content. And oh my God, maybe I should take on these other clients that I wasn't going to take on, but maybe now I should take them on because look at this tax bill. And oh my God, that's crazy. I don't want to see my account go down by almost truly multiple six figures. Okay. I don't want to see my account go down by that. And like, what if this all goes away? What if this was just my most abundant year, but like, that's not the case next year? And and it just keeps going. And that like inner driver in me out of fear is like, you need to do more. You need to do more, Tiffany. You can't rest. You can't go on a trip. You've got to work. You've got to work, bitch. Who do you think you are? I mean, out of control. And it's like, okay, red flag. The signs are blaring. Okay, we're going to take a deep breath. And what's the middle ground? Yes, we will show up. Obviously, we're going to show up for our people. We're going to show up and do the things, but we also are going to equally show up for ourselves. and serve ourselves and what we need in this season of our life, and trust that the season that you're in right now is also by divine. You're supposed to be in this season right now. If it's a season of pain, you're supposed to be in discomfort because it's squeezing you and pushing you and forcing you to grow, to let go of things, to ascend to a different level, to release what's been holding you back. Right? If you're in a season right now where like you're living life and it's high and everything is abundant, you're supposed to be in that season right now. But my point in saying seasons is seasons change. It's not if they change or they might change, they do change. So you're not always going to be in any particular season, even in a season of abundance. You're not always going to be in that exact same season of abundance. We want to prime ourselves to be in that as much as possible. But just because you are in a season of abundance, that doesn't mean you're not going to be tested and squeezed, in your money area of your life, your friendship area, your support, your health, your love area of your life. You best believe you absolutely are going to be tested. Like I said, this year for me, I was tested more than ever, and I'm also richer than ever. And I'm actually getting healthier than ever on a cellular level. But man, it was not cute. So looking what is the in between? What's the middle ground here? Maybe you do take some things off your plate so that the things you have on your plate are more intentional and more focused so you can give your energy to those things. So maybe look at what you can take off your plate personally and professionally, be intentional of what you're going to zone in on, and asking yourself, what do I need more of right now? What would fill me up? What puts me in the most abundant space? What makes me feel safe and secure and supported and reminds my body and reminds my brain and reminds my nervous system that I am an abundant being? I am being supported by a higher power at work here who has my greatest good in mind. And you have to deliberately put yourself in that mode and set yourself up versus just like wanting and hoping that you're going to wake up the next day and feel better. That's very dangerous. This is why I came out with my abundance flash holiday sale, because what Make More Work Less will do, my money manifesting program, like I said, it's designed to do in 7 days or less. This is going to, without a doubt, put your nervous system back into that flow, prime yourself for abundance in a way that's going to feel good and fun, where you're safe and supported. And then, of course, you get my In the Abundance Zone 90-day guided journal and planner that goes with it. And this is the perfect season to be able to do that in. So you can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/ make more work less. Swipe up. It's in the show notes. It's in the description here on YouTube, Project Me TV, and in my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok. But sitting back and doing nothing and hope it changes and hope you're going to feel better and I'll wait until next year, that's not going to feel good. You're just going to end up in more anxiety and comparisonitis and self doubt, and all sorts of buggeroos are going to come up. Okay, let's not do that. But we can do a middle ground. You don't also have to do all the things or none of the things. Maybe that's a behavior that you need to leave behind in 2024, is the all or nothing, because that's really exhausting. I know I lived most of my life in that, and I've paid a health consequence for living that way. Like my adrenals basically shut down from living that way. It's very taxing on your body. And you know where the abundance zone truly lies? It lies in the in between. That's where things flow. That's where things feel not easy, but simple, right? Things become simple. There is a sense of ease. It doesn't mean there aren't any waves, but the waves are not like these overbearing waves that like crash you and tumble you around, right? Like there's waves you can ride out, there's waves you can duck under, and you can navigate life so much easier. And because you end up in that energetic space, you feel lighter, you feel more creative, you have more energy, you have more motivation, you feel more abundant, you're more magnetizing, and opportunities come to you, clients come to you, amazing ideas come to you when you put out your content, any form of content, emails, your offers, videos, whatever. You can tell. I know when you guys are even watching my stuff, there's certain times and certain pieces of content of mine, you feel very like drawn in by me. You're magnetized by it and other people that you follow. And then there's people you're repelled by. And some of these people can be really nice people you're repelled by. And you're repelled, you don't know why you're repelled, you're just not drawn in. And that's because their own energy is off and they may or may not be aware of it. And I'm making you aware of what the domino effect is. The cost of you not doing something to put yourself back into the abundance zone internally is going to cost you everything externally. So when you go to the Make More Work Less page and it's $200 off right now, plus you get the In the Abundance Zone 90-day guided journal and planner included as well. You might go, oh, this isn't $97 or this isn't $300. No, this is a full program that is going to change your entire relationship with money. And there's been one person out of the hundreds and hundreds of people who've taken it that thought it was terrible. And that's the person, if you've been listening to all my episodes, that's the person who I swear to God, I think it's my mom. I'm being dead serious. The email that was sent was like a multi paragraph email that only a narcissist could have written. It was so mean and it was so personal and it was so nasty. There is no way any of my clients or any of you guys would ever write me something like that, even if you didn't like something. I mean, it was like that. That's the only negative feedback we've gotten from this program. There's a highlight section on my Instagram that is titled, should be, I think it's titled Make More Work Less, where you can see a lot of the reviews. Those are also right on the page that you go to in order to sign up. I just ask you to do something different. When we take contrary action, we get contrary results. And thinking that we can kind of like get away with doing I don't know, the thing that doesn't seem like any effort, or that we want to just manifest it passively and sit back and like let things happen. I know that sounds easier. That's the path of least resistance. Your ego loves that. Your inner bully loves that. I promise you it doesn't work. Okay? That's why a big reason why 10 years went by before I pursued this dream. And imagine if I didn't have this podcast that's top 5 in 57 countries around the world. Imagine if I did not do that for myself, for the trickle effect of all the millions of people that I've helped, and then all the people those people have helped, you know, but I had to make a move for myself that was contrary to everything that my brain was doing and screaming at me. And my hope for you is that episodes like this put you back in a state of exhale where you go, okay, I see I was living in fear. Who knows how long I was here? I might have been here for months. I might have been stuck in this loop for the whole year. I might have been stuck in this for the last week. And we got to get out of it now because you heard this for a reason. We're exhaling and now we get to regroup. And I invite you to do that with me with Make More Work Less. And then another thing you can do are my guided abundance walks for your season of abundance, which that is also available for you inside of the show notes. And it's a free abundance gift for you, and you'll love those. That definitely pairs perfectly with this episode of getting you out of that fear spiral and back into a sense of safety and security with life. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.